Over the past 5 years, a strange phenomena has been occurring in a specific body of water. A small group of whales has been collectively targeting boats, leading to a lot of confusion and speculation. Today, I'll be discussing why scientists think these whales are attacking boats and all the details in between. Subscribe for more wildlife news, animal attacks, and more. Since 2020, a group of orcas off the Iberian Peninsula have been repeatedly interacting with boats, causing growing concern among scientists, sailors, and wildlife officials. These interactions, which began off the coasts of southern Spain and Portugal, have now expanded into northern regions such as Galicia and even into the Bay of Biscay. The behavior centers on orcas approaching and making contact with rudders of boats, often leading to substantial damage. Some vessels have lost steering entirely, and in a handful of cases, boats have sunk. According to data compiled by the Atlantic Orca Working Group, over 673 interactions have been recorded as of mid-2025. In the most recent cases, the orcas appear to use coordinated movements, often involving 2 or 3 individuals, to target a vessel's rudder system. Sailors consistently report orcas approaching from the rear and either striking or prying at the rudder with their heads or bodies. This behavior results in bent, snapped, or entirely detached rudders. The orcas responsible for these interactions belong to a small, critically endangered subpopulation known as the Iberian orcas, believed to consist of fewer than 40 individuals. Marine researchers tracking the incidents have identified at least 15 orcas actively involved, many of them juveniles. The most well-known is a female nicknamed White Gladys, who is thought to have initiated or significantly influenced the behavior. The initial encounters were thought to be isolated incidents, but the consistency and repeated nature of the behavior across several years has led scientists to classify this as a new behavioral trend. The interactions have occurred with increasing frequency during the late spring and summer months, which coincide with the orca's presence in the region during bluefin tuna migrations. The vessels targeted are usually monohull sailing yachts between 10 and 15 meters long, traveling at relatively low speeds. This may be because the rudder is more exposed or accessible compared to that of faster or differently designed boats. Affected boats are often left drifting until assistance arrives. The rudder damage tends to incapacitate vessels entirely, making these interactions a serious concern for maritime safety, especially in remote waters where help may not be immediately available. There is ongoing debate among researchers regarding the cause of this behavior. One prominent theory is that White Gladys may have experienced a negative interaction with a boat, such as being struck or caught in rigging, which resulted in a learned aversion or trauma-based behavior. This hypothesis suggests that the behavior spread socially within the pod, particularly among younger orcas who began to imitate the actions. However, there is no direct evidence confirming an initial injury or traumatic encounter. Another theory posits that the behavior is not rooted in trauma, but rather in curiosity or play. Orcas are highly intelligent, social animals capable of learning from one another and repeating behaviors they find stimulating. In this view, the movement and resistance of rudders could be perceived by the whales as an engaging interactive object, similar to a toy. Other orca populations have shown similar socially transmitted fads. For example, in the 1980s, orcas off the coast of Canada briefly adopted a trend of carrying dead salmon on their heads. These behaviors appear suddenly, spread within pods, and fade over time, sometimes within a few years. Still, some researchers caution against assuming the rudder targeting behavior is purely playful. The repeated pattern, mechanical specificity, and consistency of rudder-focused damage suggest a deliberate process rather than incidental experimentation. In the case of these Iberian orcas, the behavior has persisted for over 3 years and shows no sign of fading. It has been expanded geographically, now seen farther north along the Spanish and Portuguese coasts. In at least 4 cases, boats were damaged to the point of being unsalvageable and had to be abandoned. Researchers note that orcas do not display typical signs of aggression during these events. There are no observed displays such as tail slapping, breaching, or aggressive vocalizations. Rather, the whales approach calmly and interact with the rudder methodically, as if attempting to disable the vessel rather than attack it. This calm demeanor further complicates attempts to classify the behavior. Some prefer the term interaction over attack to avoid implying intent or malice, especially as no injuries to humans have occurred. Even when boats have sunk, all passengers have been rescued without incident, and there are no verified cases of orcas intentionally ramming hulls. Environmental factors may also be contributing to this behavior. The orcas in question spend part of their year following bluefin tuna, their primary prey, as the fish migrate through the Strait of Gibraltar and up along the Atlantic coast. During these periods, the whales are often well fed, leaving them with energy and time for exploration or social bonding. Orcas are known to engage in complex social behaviors, including play, imitation, and cooperative activities that can resemble games. Some scientists speculate that this rudder-focused behavior may have started as a form of tactile play or experimentation, which then became socially reinforced among pod members. Additionally, the noise, movement, and vibrations of sailboats, especially under power, may be perceived by orcas as similar to the motion of prey. The rudder, in particular, moves independently in the water and may be interpreted as a tail-like object worth investigating. The hydrodynamic feedback from nudging or pushing the rudder may also be rewarding or stimulating to the orcas, reinforcing the behavior even in the absence of food or aggression-based motivations. The impact of this behavior has not gone unnoticed by local maritime agencies and conservation groups. The Spanish and Portuguese governments have issued notices to sailors, warning them to avoid known hotspots for orca interactions, particularly near the Strait of Gibraltar and off the coast of Galicia. Boats under 15 meters are especially cautioned, as they are more vulnerable to rudder interference. Some insurance providers have begun asking for updated safety protocols for vessels traveling through high-risk areas. In response, sailors are being advised to avoid stopping in the presence of orcas, to reduce engine noise, and in some cases, to let the wheels spin freely or even reverse course to discourage continued interest. So far, deterrent technologies have had mixed results. Some have experience with acoustic devices, but there is concern that such tools could disturb non-target marine life. As of now, the best approach remains avoidance and real-time monitoring. Researchers are also using satellite tags and individual photo identification to track specific orcas involved in these events and better understand their movement patterns and behavior over time. Despite the disruption caused to sailors, researchers emphasize the importance of understanding and preserving the orcas themselves. The Iberian orcas are critically endangered, with fewer than 40 individuals believed to remain. They are genetically and behaviorally distinct from other orca populations, and their survival is already challenged by declining fish stocks, vessel traffic, and chemical pollution. Managing this new boat-focused behavior presents a delicate balance, mitigating risks to humans and vessels without harming or further stressing an already fragile orca population. Authorities have ruled out aggressive deterrence methods such as sonar harassment or physical separation, as these would likely be harmful. Instead, the focus has shifted to passive observation, data gathering, and predictive modeling. By tracking whale movements and understanding where interactions are most likely to occur, sailors can make informed decisions and reduce the risk of further incidents. Scientists continue to investigate the underlying cause of the behavior, but acknowledge that it may persist or evolve for years. Like other intelligent, socially complex animals, orcas often defy easy explanation.